You've already been given life. You've been given the manual. We just don't know how to live it because immediately we're distracted. If you sit still just long enough, have a practice of daily 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, sit still long enough, the answers are coming, man. And we got to learn to activate that natural human intuition that we have. So we're conforming in a positive way.
My guest today is Freddy Jackson, a personal trainer, music producer, author, and the founder of the Love No Ego Foundation. I hope you enjoy. Glad to hear it. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too, bro. You doing all right?
Yeah, I've been pretty good. And I've really been looking forward to talking to you, honestly.
Yeah,
I've
cool.
been preparing for our talk, so I figured we
Yeah,
just get right into it.
yeah. Let's do it.
All right, sounds great.
I
Well, yeah,
use StreamYard a lot too. I love StreamYard.
yeah, you do. What do you use it
Yeah.
for?
For like interviews, connecting with people. I record my virtual sessions I have with people
Uh-huh.
just to kind of some of my clients just to kind of reiterate some things, some points and reference, and I cut it up and send it back to them, stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's handy.
podcasting. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, cool. So yeah, what have you been up to? What's new?
Just traveling, mentoring locally, speaking all over the place. I had my first international gig last year. I got another one this year. So all over the place, man. East Coast, West Coast, out of the country, just kind of spreading the word and just helping individuals and companies and teams. I'm in the corporate world a little bit now. Speaking about love, no ego in the workplace, and how to remove that ego and get everybody to show up as the best selves and just kind of live in and on purpose, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
living the dream.
yeah. Life is good, man. I have no worries. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. So I definitely do want to talk about love, no ego. Of
Uh-huh.
course, it's such a big part of your life, and a lot of people's lives too. And but before we talk about love, no ego, I want to talk about your early life and your education and
Hmm.
growing up. So you're from Rockingham, right?
Buckingham.
Buckingham,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So what was your early life? What was education like for you growing up in Buckingham?
In Buckingham, it was like, limited resources. We're kind of like just in the middle of the sticks. We call it the sticks, the country, the woods. One stoplight. They might have two now, but when I was there, it was just one stoplight. It was always flashing. So limited resources, man. But education was just typical. I felt. I think it's that way. It was just a typical get your high school diploma and let's see what you're going to do from there. But I always kind of wanted a little bit more. I always had like a lot of energy, and my mom was always looking for ways for me to use that energy to the best of my ability. Whether that was like getting me some drums, getting me involved in church, playing piano, whatever it was, she was kind of feeding me these things. And those things kind of, just match my creativity or my imagination. And one thing led to another. So I always had this thing about like, man, like I just want to maximize this thing. So after graduating high school, I kind of worked a couple of jobs for a couple of years and I quickly got bored. 9 to 5 wasn't me. I couldn't sit still, and I ended up going back to school on a basketball scholarship. After sitting out 3 years, I still earned a scholarship and to play basketball at a JUCO. And then I went to a 4 year school and I never looked back. I started working with youth in Pittsburgh, Philly, and Midwest, Chicago. And I kept going to school, got my master's in psychology. I got my second master's in organizational development and leadership. And all while producing and writing music because the church kind of, being in the church early and playing the drums and just my dad was always playing this funk music and stuff. So just always being around it, I developed a love for that. So I started writing poems at I don't know, maybe 11 years old, I was writing. And as I got older, I continued that, but I never really told anybody about it. And as I was chasing, um, I became a personal trainer in the process of playing basketball, having that scholarship. I became a personal trainer. I learned so much about my body. I wanted to share with other people. Um, and I was always writing. And next thing I know, I broke my ankle playing college ball, kept writing. And next thing I know, I was performing songs in different clubs and bars or karaoke, wherever I could do it. And it just led me to all these different locations throughout the US. I moved to Chicago. I moved to Orlando, Florida. I moved to Austin, Texas for a while. Chicago, I said Chicago, LA. I went out to California for a while. And while I was doing that, that's when I went ahead and got those masters as well. So everything was just kind of that's me. That's my mind. That's my head. That's my imagination, if you want to call it. I was just digging in this pot, digging in this pot, digging in this pot, but it all felt very purposeful, so it wasn't chaotic. It was just like, this is just what I do. And I woke up one day, I had 4 degrees, 4 or 5 music albums floating around out there. I was earning residual income, and I had all these experiences that kind of helped me see that love was the greatest energy ever. And I could see how the ego was always out front, especially in the industries that I was in: sports, fitness, music. It's this ego out front. And I was like, this thing is backwards. Like, love should be out front. The ego should be back here somewhere and just out of the way. Get the ego out of the way so you can be you, right? And that's how I came up with Love No Ego. I wrote an album about it. I called it Love No Ego, and that was like 2013. And 3 years later, I had a nonprofit called the Love No Ego Foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, quickly going back to college, you have a master's in psychology and organizational development and leadership, you said?
Yeah.
What inspired you to choose those subjects to study?
Yeah. Well, I like humans, man. I love human interaction. I love communication. I love behavior, and I think in the world, we always blame things, we blame social media for many things. We blame politics for and we can't continue to blame things. So I was always attracted to like human behavior, because I know human behavior is behind all of it. It's behind everything that we do. Like this phone here is a great tool, but if I misuse it, it becomes not a productive tool. It becomes more negative than positive. But if I use it correctly, I can make a lot of money with this thing. I can empower some people. I can help myself. I can stay connected. I can build a network. I mean, look at us. So I was just attracted to human behavior. And that's why I got into psychology, because I wanted to make sure that I felt that if I could understand human behavior and control my responses and help people control their responses to this chaotic world, then I'm gonna be a great resource to people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, but I'm always curious why people choose what they decided to study, because that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. So,
sometimes it's trial and error, man. Like life
yeah.
can be trial and error. You don't have to know. You just have to be passionate about what you're doing in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And if that passion changes, that subject field changes, it changes. At least you enjoyed this journey thus far before it changed, and it's changed again. And now you're like, oh, I want to do this. And at least you stay excited and you have that momentum, and you're being you the entire time, which is the most important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the bigger inspirations, or I guess main inspirations for Love No Ego, is the way that you observe people treating each other. So is that something you always felt in your life, or was there like a sudden moment when it clicked and a sudden epiphany that came to you, or did you always sort of observe human behavior that was distasteful?
I think it was a little bit of both, because I definitely had some epiphany moments that were like solidifying, like, man, whoa, and through all those experiences, as well as my own, let's talk about my own mistakes that I've made along the way, living in my ego. Like, whoa, like I just really saw how it was blocking, doing more blocking of the blessings than it was like bringing in the blessings. It was keeping me and limiting my communications, my connections, my miracles, and the way that I experienced them, my opportunities. The ego was just limiting all of that. So I had to get that out of the way. But there's a part of me too that was, I feel like I've always been living it. I just didn't know what it was. And I was, not always comfortable within myself to listen to it and have the courage to do it. I think that's most of us. Like, that's why I called it Love No Ego. And the tag phrase is the courage to be you, because we all have that you right here. You're you, I'm me. And it's given to you by the creator, by love, by universe, by the God, whatever people want to call it. It's given to you, it's given to us. And for whatever reason, through these worldly experiences and challenges, we are afraid to be that. So once I decided, it's like, man, I gotta listen to this thing because it won't go away. Like it's inevitable, like there, you can't get rid of it. So the best thing you can do is just listen to it, be you, have that courage to be you, because that's where your gifts are, that's where your blessings are, that's where your miracles are, that's where you're going to maximize this human experience. So I've always kind of been living both, but I've had some crazy moments, man, and my own mistakes, and like, wow, like, man, I did that. I had to face that, but I did. And like, it just, I knew then that I knew what the truth was, and I had to really start living it if I wanted to maximize this human experience. So
Yeah, so given that awareness, like of your own ego, like everyone has an ego, and I think once you're aware of it, how do you keep your ego in check? How do you keep yourself in a good headspace?
Yeah, I share some of the things that I've done, and I think it works miraculously. As I started having this more attraction to just like love and just nature, just organically just being human. As I started getting more into that, I started reading. You see all my books, I got books everywhere. I started reading more. The next thing I knew, man, I didn't have time for like TV. I didn't have time for, I wasn't even interested in it. People that wasn't serving this new energy that I was on, like it was, if it conflicted in any way, I just wasn't attracted to it no more. So guess what? My TV went. I got rid of my TV, took a picture of it on the wall. It's like a 40-some inch screen on the wall. Took a picture of it, put it on Craigslist, sold it the same day. That gone. That's gone. And then, so the cable bill went along with it. That was a TV and probably like $120, $30 minimum bill. So all of a sudden now I got a little bit more money and I got a little bit more time, right? Because I'm not being idle with this TV. So I started getting rid of things, man, that just wasn't like serving this space right here, this you that I had. Next thing I know, I'm watching the sunrise a little bit more. I watch the sunrise every day now, 7 days a week. Like I work out a little bit more. I go to networking events. I naturally network with people a little bit more when I'm out in stores, wherever. And I think a good way to do that is to look at what's serving you and what's not serving you. And what I mean by that, like what's bringing you joy and what's not bringing you joy. And of course, retain the things that are bringing you joy strip away, remove the things that are not bringing you joy. And what you'll find is you now you have some space. You have some time back, because the world will steal your time if you let it. Next thing you know, you're busy, 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 doing this, doing that, doing that. Maybe into some things that you don't even want to do, but somehow you just said yes, and then you got to fulfill them. So you got to watch that. The world will keep you busy. Next thing you know, you're 68 years old and retiring, and like, what happened? What's going on? You know? But love is great, man. And I like to say that because before we attach it to anything, I don't think we realize that we are the source. Like, we are it. You know, like, it's here. Before I said I love this, I love that. Like, you can't skip over this recognition and this feeling and this natural, organic, miraculous space that you have that nobody can get to unless you let them get there. Like, can nobody bother this space unless I let them, you know? And we have to move in a way and make the space for love to show us that truth. And then you'll realize what the ego is, and you'll start to like practice it. And just to kind of sum it up too, like, just think about this ego. It's two things: overly self-centeredness and fear. Without conflict, your ego wouldn't even exist. Like, think about it. Like, if there wasn't any conflict within me, why would I need this ego? Because this ego is like, now I got to stick out my chest. I got to put on this false persona to protect myself, to keep things at bay. If there wasn't any conflict, you wouldn't even need it. If you wasn't overly thinking about yourself, it's cool to think about yourself. You're going to do it. You cannot do it. But it's more like thinking of yourself less, but not thinking less of yourself. So quantity versus like quality. Like, I don't have to think about myself all the time to feel good. You know, actually, it makes me feel better to think about other people and help other people. You know, I can think of myself less often, quantity, and still feel super great. Like, you know, quality about myself. So moving in that way, overly self-centeredness, and then fear. People make decisions out of fear, man. They want to go this way, and I don't want to mess with that, and nervous and anxiousness and all that comes in society and the news and the messages, and doesn't help because they want to keep you as an anxiety-filled being. Because if they can keep us separated and anxiety fulfilled or filled with this anxiety, and then we can never come together. You know, the big businesses make money off of separation and division than they do togetherness. If we all came together, for example, if you like Whole Foods, right? And I say, you know what, Whole Foods prices are too high. But you say, no, I'm going to buy that $20 peanut butter I like over there. I was like, all right, cool. So now we're divided. But if we came together and said, you know what, these prices are too high, we're not shopping there anymore, we're going here. Guess what they're going to do? They're probably going to lower their prices. So it's that simple. But I think just looking at what's serving you, what's bringing you joy, what's not bringing you joy, starting there and removing some of those things that's not. That way you can make space for more of the things that do bring you joy.
Yeah, I agree. You talk about conformity as well in some of the videos that I listen to, and I think that plays a big role as well, at least in my life. I think trying to fit in is something that we want to do naturally as humans. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it can limit you when you're trying to conform. It can limit you from doing what you really love and what you're really passionate about. So what can we do to, I guess, sort of break free from conformity? Because there's, you know, there's some fear and some anxiety that comes in taking your own path and doing your own thing.
Yeah.
So what are some steps we can take to get away from that?
I think just recognizing it, like you're saying, you know it's there, you see it, so recognize it. You got to understand that the minute you come out of the womb, out of mom's belly, even before that, the moment you come out, man, it's on. Like, it's just on. It's just, you just spent 9-10 months in a dark place, right? In the belly. This life is simple. Don't make it complex, right? You're there. It's quiet. You naturally use your senses. You don't question the darkness. You're not scared. You have a heartbeat. Before you have this thing here, this big old brain that's growing until you're 21, 22. But you have that before you have this boss, employee, I call it. And you come out, what happens? Doctor slaps you. There's fluorescent lights in your face. You just spent 9, 10 months in this dark place. Now there are these chemical lights in your face. There's metal, there's noise, clank, clank, people running around. And you got to ask yourself, like, has that noise stopped yet? No. And do you think it's going to stop? No. So what is my job here, you know? And you grow up and you start moving from one box to the next. You go from the hospital to the car, from the car to the house, or the house to your room, to the room to your crib. And next thing you know, you're fed these messages. You have to get this career. You have to do that. So you go back to another box of school and you just grow up aspiring to be something maybe that you don't even want to be, right? And then you desire vacation, so you gotta get a passport. You gotta go on vacation. You gotta escape the world that you've made. Like, is this, like, think about all of that. Like, what a mess we've created. And you have to get there, to get this type of practice and get away from conformity. To answer your question, you have to be you. And how do you be you? One great way of being you is to just sit still. You can call it meditation. You can call it nature walks. You can call it watch the sun. You can call it whatever you want, but you have to be able to sit still and sit still with yourself, because every answer, honestly, every answer that you need is already there. You got to think about it. You've already been given life. You've been given the manual. You've been given it. We just don't know how to live it because immediately we're distracted. Immediately. And we don't even know like what life is about. We think waking up 9 to 5, going to college, going to school, pay your bills, come home, watch football on Sundays, hang with some friends, drink a beer. We think that's reality. That's just all shit we made up. So how is that reality? You know? So you got to really look at it and be like, let me bring it back to simplicity and life. Like, what is life? God, creator, love gave me something. Even you don't even have to understand it all. It's just like I believed, I know it's something. And it's been given to me. And if you sit still just long enough, have a practice of daily 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, sit still long enough, the answers are coming, man. Because now you're doing life. Now you're doing life. Who you are and what you do is two different things. You know, I can be a motivational speaker. I can be a coach. I can be this. I got a lot of great bullet points. Not necessarily who I am, what I am. That's just what I do. And we got to learn to activate that natural human intuition that we have, so we're conforming in a positive way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So another thing that I heard in one of your videos is my happiness is my responsibility. Mm-hmm. And that's something that clicked with my ear immediately, and I didn't exactly know why. But I just want to dig down into what exactly do you mean by my happiness is my responsibility?
Yeah. You know, because it's up to you. As you probably know or probably heard that, like, you can't. Are you going to let someone else determine how happy you are? That doesn't even make sense. Like, it doesn't even. I'm going to take all of my faith and all of my belief in my joy and my happiness and hand it to you and say, hey, make me happy. I have news for you. Nobody, there's not one person on this earth or one person that alien or whoever that we don't even know about, even them. There's not one person that's going to do what we want them to do 100% of the time. It's never going to happen. My own mama, you probably know this. Your mama don't do what you want her to do all the time. Like my wife doesn't do what I want her to do in my way. You know, like, so who am I to expect somebody to adhere to my little rules over here? No, so my happiness is my responsibility. So if I want to be happy, if I want to experience joy, guess who is up to? It's up to me. You know, other people can contribute, they can add, but it's not their responsibility. You know, me and my wife, we have this thing that we do. We have a meeting every Sunday, and we just come together and we just kind of talk about the week. I see how many times I got on her nerves. You see how many times she got on my nerves. We just talk, you know, we just say, you know, and we talk about the future, this, that, talk about now, the present moment. My wife says now. And like, just in that little mixture, like of just realness, it helps us see that I'm an individual and she's an individual. We made a vow and a promise to each other to come together and do life together. And when we come this way and we come here, like, we have to make sure that we're adding and not coming with expectations and trying to subtract something. Her happiness is her responsibility. My happiness is my responsibility. But when we bring that together, of course, I spoil her with all sorts of stuff. She spoils me with all sorts of stuff. But we know that, you know, you're an individual, because if you come to the table and you're expecting me to make you happy, it's not going to work. Because guess what our expectations is based on? Probably a past relationship, probably something before me that I ain't have nothing to do with. If I got my heart broke over here 5 years ago and I'm tagging along and then I meet her and I say, oh, this is beautiful, I'm having a good time with you, I'm happy, this is cool. And if I'm not able to be in my now with this person and be in this moment and move forward, I'm bringing something that I'm trying to get her to fill a space that was back there somewhere, you know. So the only connection between you and the past is this brain here, and we have to learn sometimes to be in the now, forgive every day, so that happiness can really be your responsibility. That's a part of that. And just allow love to do what it does. Like, allow love to do what it does. You know, we're all going to pass away one day. Who wants to spend their life with all these expectations and letdowns? And like, we have to be human about this thing and be fair. And again, allow love to do what it does.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So I also heard 4 things that you say you practice daily.
Mm-hmm.
And those are spirituality, education, exercise, and community. So
Yeah.
If we can just go through each one of those, and what exactly does it look like to practice those daily?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are 4 pillars that I came up with. I've used them in the Love No Ego Foundation, the nonprofit work, and even in the corporate world when I'm coaching like personal clients or teams or whatever. Spirituality, I believe these are 4 things that we all need to kind of show up as the best human that we can be. So spirituality is just about igniting your human intuition. It's different from religion, because I'm looking at I'm looking at it more as like just being human in this space that you have, because we laugh, we cry, we get angry, we get upset, we have all these feelings and emotions, and it's a disservice to yourself not to pay attention to that. Like, pay attention to that in detail. So part of my spirituality and grounding and paying attention to that space includes me going to watch the sunrise, because it puts it all in perspective. I get to see the sun peak up every single morning for the most part. And it's life. Like, we'll be dead without it. You know, like, let's keep it real here. Like, we will be dead without the sun. But a lot of people don't even think about it like that, you know? So that's a part of my spirituality. Nature walks. I love nature because nature is naturally connected to us. we're breathing, we're alive because of it. So I go hiking, I take walks, I sit outside all year round. I don't care how cold or how hot it is. Um, I read something every day. I read every day. I move every day. I do 5, 6, 7 exercises. Sometimes I do more than that. I might take off running. I ran 4 miles last night. So um, we're made to move. I can give you another whole presentation talk on the benefits of exercise. Um, Education, like I said, I read every day. I'm always trying to learn something new. I'm really attracted to just that whole power of just new information. And it doesn't even have to be new. Sometimes it can be something that I've read before. It's just I need that reiteration. And then community. Community is everything that we are. We are made to extend this love between each other. There's unity in the community, even in the word itself is in there. Everything that we're trying to achieve exists out there somewhere. All the resources, all the networking opportunities, all the people that we need to meet along the way, and everything that we've ever learned, good or bad, where did it come from? Another human being. So we got to understand that and just really embrace it. So I came up with those 4 pillars because I felt like that's what we needed to be, just the best human being we could be every day. But in a nutshell, that's how it looks for me. Sunrise. Sometimes I hike the mountain to watch the sunrise. So I'm getting exercise and spirituality in one. So I meditate up there. I might take a couple of friends with me. That's community. And I read every day. Life is simple. We make it so hard, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's almost like a universal language for what people need, but feeds your soul. So when I heard that, it definitely clicked with my ear immediately. And I completely agree for sure. So yeah, speaking of books and reading every day, do you have any specific recommendations? Because I just started reading consistently this year.
Yeah.
And I've added your books to my list, of course, which we'll talk about. But anything else that you'd recommend?
Yeah. So man, just look back here. Look at this one. This one's pretty cool. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. In a society where we're rushing, doing everything top speed, it shows you ways to kind of eliminate that anxiety and pressure of just hurry, 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 do, right? This is a great one right here that I just finished. It's called The Essential Dick Gregory. I don't know if you know about Dick Gregory, but he was a bad boy, man. Bad boy. Everything from nutrition to civil rights to just showing up as a good human, the best human that you can. Here's one called The Ego is the Enemy. Oh, here's one. This will be good for you. It's called Inner Engineering by Sadhguru. Really powerful. You can look him up on Instagram. He gives you stuff every single day like I do. Very powerful stuff. One more. Here you go. Believe it or not, The Leadership Secrets of Attila the Hun. A bad book, man. And it's short and to the point. There's all kind of stuff out there, man, that's just powerful, and if you stay open, you'll get what you need to get from it. You might not agree with certain things, but you'll get what you need to get from it, and you're going to maximize who you are. That's what it's about.
Yeah. Ego is the Enemy. Ryan Holiday, I think it is. That one's on my list too. And he also has one, Stillness is the Key. That's another one. Yeah. So speaking of stillness and ego, those are 2 that I've got on my list. So I'll check those out.
Do it.
Yeah. So getting into your books, I literally tore my house apart looking for your book because I could have swore we had a copy. But I think my mom may have taken it to school and she has it in her office. So I'm gonna have to find it. And you also have the user's manual.
Right. Yeah. The user's manual, YOUSER, spell it that way on purpose. And I just kind of be me in this whole process, man, and I love it. And I write how I want to write. I spell how I capitalize and punctual, like how I want to do it, and not how we've been. I'm going to use the word program to do it. Like what you capitalize, we've been taught what you capitalize, you emphasize, right? So you have to watch that, man. There's a lot of programming going on, and we start emphasizing and placing value and importance on a lot of things. And those things end up overriding like human, love, intuition, us, we, they. So I capitalize things like that, but I don't capitalize like just traditional nouns and things like that because I want to change that narrative and of what we emphasize, we capitalize. So why are we not emphasizing these things? And we're emphasizing those things. And those things are the things that keep us separated and divided, you know?
Yeah.
So the user's manual is just like it was my idea of how we have manuals for everything. I know how this works. I know how, look at us. We're talking to each other. We're two different locations. We know how this works. We didn't have any trouble getting on. We know how everything works. There's a manual for everything, but there's not a manual for you, for human beings. So I share 20 principles in that book that has worked for me, along with some personal stories. And it's just a manual to you to help you show up as your best self.
Yeah. So what was your writing process like? I mean, were you writing a little bit every day, or would you put it
Yeah.
all one day of the week, or what was your
Yeah.
process?
My process is like I have to, when I'm in it, I'm in it. Like I have to do it every day, even if it's like, 5 pages. And what I do is I go to the dollar store, I go somewhere like that, or I order it off Amazon. I just get a thick journal and empty pages, just an empty book. It doesn't even have to be a journal. It's just like a book with pages. And I just start writing. Like I write. When I write it, it solidifies it for me, and I get more ideas and get more creative versus typing. So I write it all out. I write every day. That book probably took me about 9 months, and after I write it all out, then I type it, right? And then after I type it, I send it to a couple of people. They look at it and give me some feedback and edits and things like that. Then I get it published, like not published, but I get like a copy, a rough draft copy. I get about 4 of those, and then I send them off to some editors and people that I know. And they're give me the feedback, retype it, make the edits, print out about 3 or 4 more, do the same thing again. And then I get those back, and the errors and the new suggestions will get slimmer and slimmer and slimmer till there's like none. I'm like, whoa, here we go. I think this thing's ready. And then I'll submit it, make those changes, submit it, publish it, and kind of set up a day to release it, and we're off and rolling.
Yeah. Yeah, I think writing a book is, in some ways, I guess, a great metaphor for life. It's sort of a slow process, and you add a little bit every day, and at the end, you get a finished product. But you didn't do it all in one day. It was kind of a
Yeah.
slow thing. But
Yeah. Yeah. That's why you got to make sure you enjoy the journey. We focus on the end goal. And next thing you know, we're so focused on 365 days from now. Today is just dreadful. We're dreading it,
yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, there was a couple. I read a little bit of the intro, and you talked about, like you said, you capitalize words that have real and eternal value. So how do you define what words have real and eternal value and which ones don't?
Yeah. So I just kind of go with you gotta think about it like this. Like I have this thing about what's natural versus unnatural. What's reality versus what we made up. What's truth versus illusions. and what's love versus ego influence, love versus fear. Like, which space do you occupy the most? So the truth, like think about everything that's natural in the universe. Oh, that's one, universe. What else? Trees, nature, rocks, mountains, water, humans, spirit, intuition, emotions, uh, sun, moon, stars, clouds, weather. It's all in here, right? It's all there. Boom, boom. And that's connected right here. You know, we're part of that. We're organic, we're natural. You put unnatural things in this body, what happened? Bad stuff happens, right? So we're very like, this is what I call truth. This is what I call reality. This is what I call love at its core before you attach it to other things out there. Nature, natural, truth, reality, spirit, intuition, everything that's alive right here. And then on the outside is all the other stuff. It's phones, laptops, airplanes, all the stuff that we created. We can go on and 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 on. Not all bad things, but we just made a lot of stuff. And I do that because I highlighted that way because I want us to see which space we occupy the most. Do we spend more time here making that space, as Mr. Holiday is talking about, like stillness? Or do we, as soon as we wake up, we out there somewhere? We're here. You know, we're already tuned into the ego influence world that brings separation, that brings individualism, greed, jealousy, you know, illusions, hate, all that stuff, right? So that's where I write from. So when I say you, like, I might capitalize that. When I say human beings, I might capitalize that. When I say love, I'm definitely capitalizing that. Universe, I'm capitalizing that. If I say President of the United States, I probably won't even capitalize it. And it's not a disrespectful thing. It's more about, again, if you're reading it, and especially if a young person is reading it, I have the opportunity to change a little narrative and bring some extra awareness to them about, like, whoa, this is kind of important, because when I get out there in the world and my ego's not holding me up, my status is not holding me up, me being a speaker is not holding me up, what's going to hold me up? Your love space and who you are and what you really, really value. That's what's going to hold you up and give you the motivation to always go. You know, money's not always, it's not always going to motivate you. You know, it's just not. So I'm about just consistency. I'm about reality. And I just want people to just kind of be aware, just practice a little bit more awareness and then make decisions from that space.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree completely. Well, yeah, I'm really looking forward to reading your books. So yeah, hopefully I can find that copy and then get the other copy as well. And yeah, look forward to reading a lot. So yeah, do you have, what's next for you? Do you have another book in the works, or?
Yeah, I'm writing this one. I don't think I'm gonna call it this, but I came up with this thing called "You Are the Source." You are the source. And I go through this whole, it's a really short piece. It's something that you can read in one day, pick up at any time. I'm thinking about putting some opportunities like graphics and colors. You can color it as you read it or whatever. And it's just about you from coming from the womb all the way to like typical adulthood, like 50, 60 years old. Kind of like what I explained to you earlier about you're in the belly. I'm gonna show them in the belly. And it's like, it's quiet, how dark and natural and how calm and joyous you are already. And you come out and here comes the noise of the world, and you go and you live, and all this noise and influence is on you, and you're just unfulfilled, non-purpose, and now you got to go on vacation. Like, I want people to think about, like, what am I getting away from? What do I need to go on vacation? You know? So it's kind of come all the way back to, like, you are the source. You already have it, and you just spend all this time searching for something that you already have. So I'm working on that right now, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm traveling and speaking locally and speaking like in other states. I'm going to Duke University pretty soon next month. Going out to Ohio. I'm going out to Portland, Oregon, and one that I'm excited about. Society of Marketing Professionals. Quite a few keynotes. I'm excited, man. Just being in purpose and on purpose and trusting the process, and also, man, just enjoying it. You know, you got to enjoy it, man. If you're not enjoying it, that's a key indicator that something is just not right. I'm not enjoying, like, I'm not being me right now. Like, something is just not right. If you take a moment to look at that, it'll show you what you need to do.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely.
Yeah.
So for any listeners at home, where can they go to learn some more about Love No Ego?
Yeah, so for the nonprofit Love No Ego Foundation, go to www.lovenoego.org to see more about me and my journey and speaking and the social emotional learning coaching that I do. You can go to MrLoveNoEgo.org, MrLoveNoEgo.org. And what's cool is, like, I got that name. Some kids gave me that name. They were calling me that for like a year and a half. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep this. I'm going to rock it out. So I went ahead and made an additional site because I started speaking in the corporate world. And I wanted something for them, a landing page for them to get on. So lovenoego.org and MrLoveNoEgo.org.
Yeah. Great. Well, Freddie, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. I could probably talk to you all day.
Yeah.
Have plenty more questions. And I'd love to speak to you again after I've read the books, and we can talk about them as well.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Anywhere I can help, push it forward, just let me know. That's what we're here for. All right. Thank you, Keen. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yep, you as well.
All right.
Bye.